longer practice, focus more on breath and trying to open up our chest some so that we can get deeper breaths. If you're anything like me, this past week we've been kind of riding the waves of, disbelief, and then you might have grief, then you might have denial, then you might have, just joy, and kind of goes back and forth. And so in those times when there is a lot of anxiety, I found that I'm not able to take a very deep breath. My breath is constricted, it's pretty shallow, some kind of tightness, and so we'll do some exercises today to try to balance that. I have found that as I have pulled away and taken a break from news in general, that helps a bit as well. So if you can take some time to take good care of yourself, that's helpful. So I'd like to start with what is a basic breath in yoga called the 3-part breath. So there's 3 distinct parts. It starts with the first part of the breath in the belly. So you imagine kind of this area of the belly receiving the breath, the lower part of the abdomen. The second part is the rib cage, and you can imagine them like an accordion spreading out. And then the third part of the breath is all the way into the tip tops, all around the collarbones. A little bit of the lung goes up there, and you might feel a lifting there. So we're going to start with building the breath with each part very slowly, starting with the first part of the 3-part breath. So let your hands just rest somewhere on your abdomen, your lower abdomen. And as we take a breath in, imagine that your abdomen is like a balloon. As we take a breath in, the belly expands, or you get the sensation that the belly's coming out. And on the exhale, we pull the belly in just gently, constricting. So we take a breath in and a breath out. So just focusing on this abdomen area. Try again. And one more. See if the belly can be very soft to receive the breath. So we take a breath in. On the exhale, we gently constrict the belly. So we continue this breath, but now bringing the second part of the 3-part breath in, which is into the rib cage. So with the breath in, belly expands. And then the rib cage. And then exhale. Everything just gently constricts a bit. So breath in, we bring a little bit into the belly, down low. Ribs expand and constrict. Again, part 1, lower breath. 2, and constrict. Third part, all the way up into the tip tops of the lungs. So we take a breath in. You may have your hand just rest over your heart center. So with a breath in, still leave a little bit of breath. We bring it in here. Rib cage expands, and now we're breathing all the way into the tip tops of the lungs and release. Again, 1 part, 2, 3, release. So take a few rounds on your own. See if you can slowly extend your exhale as well. Take a breath in. So you can exhale through your nose or your mouth. I don't care. Take a breath in. One more again. And then let your hands just rest and see if you can take a few 3-part breaths without your hands there to remind you. Awesome. So hopefully you found a little bit more room for the breath to flow already. And if as you begin begin to start practicing a deeper way of breathing, a more slower, elongated way of breathing. If you find that it doesn't necessarily release all at once, that's okay. Just be really compassionate with yourself. Be kind. If you feel a lot of tension there, just notice that. See if you can soften around it. If there's any place in your body that can receive a little bit of extra breath, you just invite that there. And then as you continue to practice, hopefully, we'll begin to let our nervous system relax a bit more. Maybe you'll get one of those deeper breaths with time and compassion. So last week, we talked about the antidote of anxiety, or this increased stress that we feel from what's happening in society with this pandemic. The antidote we talked about last week, one of them is gratitude, a practice of gratitude. So thinking about things that you're grateful for in your daily life. There's so much goodness, particularly this past weekend in North Carolina where it's gorgeous out, 80 degrees, lots of pollen, but it is really beautiful springtime. So you can step outside and notice what you're grateful for. You can be grateful, again, for the basics, that you have a home over your head, that you're fed well, that you have loved ones. So many things we can be grateful for in this time. The second practice I'd like to share today is that sense of interconnectedness. So it's always there, but it's particularly pertinent right now in this time of crisis in our nation. And so we might think about the interconnectedness in a few ways. One is that we might sense that we are truly all interconnected, all beings. And one way we might think about this is if we think about ourselves sitting or standing, and imagine you have roots just coming down, maybe from your feet, wherever you're touching the earth or the ground. Maybe it's your sit bones. And then imagine that imagery of the roots going down into the earth from your feet. And then what happens? All the other people, they have their root system as well. Maybe our roots intermingle, and we just feel that connection with each other, that we're really there all together, right, on this earth, supporting each other. The next thing is just to recognize that all of our actions really do affect everyone. We are interconnected. The more we can lessen our exposure to the contagion, the better we are, not only for ourselves, but if we happen to be an asymptomatic carrier, we'll protect those that might be higher risk, and we don't know who those people are. So we need to be especially cautious in our community. Another thing you can think about is how we can support others that might have economic needs. Maybe if you have the ability to go out to eat a little bit and to support takeout for businesses that are still able to do that in a safe way, that supports local businesses. It might be that you check on a neighbor in need, just checking on folks, whether it's a health need or a childcare need, in a safe way, just checking in. And then the final way is just to offer a smile, right? If you can smile genuinely, if you're having a tense day, if you can muster a little bit of a smile, just again shows that connection between people, that we're all in this together, doing the best we can. So that's my thought for the day. With that, we are going to focus on bringing some breath in. So I've got the chair here. I'm going to practice on a chair some. We're going to use the wall some. So it's a practice that more people can use if you like and you're not comfortable on the floor. We're going to start with, if you haven't, if you could go pause the video for a minute and go and get a scarf or a tie or a belt, something that you can hold for the next exercise. So go ahead and pause for a minute if you need that, and I will wait for you. All right, so as you come back, we're going to hold this. Those of you that take my class might remember this, and if you want to practice sitting on the floor or cross-legged, feel free. I'm just going to choose a chair today. So we're going to hold it a little bit wider than our hips, and we're going to take a breath up, and all we're doing is lifting our arms up. So we're going to go a little bit past vertical. We're going to try to relax your shoulders down and take a breath here. Maybe a 3-part breath if you can. Just a nice deep breath, whatever that means for you, and exhale. We'll bring this back down. Many of us have been doing a lot of outdoor yard work, so also just stretching out. I know I have. Take a breath in. Over the weekend, I get to be outside, which is lovely. Take a breath. Maybe a little bit past vertical. And if this is too much on your shoulders, I have pretty loose shoulders. If it's too much, you loosely hold on and you let go until it's a place that feels okay for you. So this should not be painful. On an exhale, we bring the hands back down. And adjust as you need. Inhale, we're going to go up again. If you need to let out, just loosely open your arms. locked. And exhale, we come down. This time we're gonna come all the way up and over. We're gonna take a breath up. You may need to loosely hold on as we go over, because you may need to let out some extra length as you come all the way over. Make sure you're not hooking on the back of your chair. And we'll take a breath up, coming back up. And release. So just as you need, my shoulders are pretty loose, so I'm gonna bring my arms a little bit closer together. You practice where you need. Inhale up. Exhale, we release back. There might be that place that you need to hang out for just a breath. Woo. Keep a strong belly as you bring your arms back up. And over. Let's practice one more time, this time with the intention of bringing sensation to the body and the sides of the body as we're finding some more room. We're gonna lift the arms up. We're lifting the ribs. Maybe we can find some breath. Arms come behind us. And we'll take a breath up. And release. Awesome. So we'll bring our strap or our tie over to the side. Just place it down. And take a moment here, just letting your hands rest. And notice if there's any more opening from that action of bringing the arms up and over. Maybe we've created a little more space for the breath to flow. When you are able to get a deep breath, just enjoy it. You don't need to hang on to it. It'll come back, so just enjoy it for that moment. All right, awesome. So bring in some release to the neck still. So there may be some holding up in our shoulders. It also affects the breath. So we're going to bring the chin towards the chest. Relax the shoulders. Similar to what we took last week, we're going to take the left ear all the way over the left shoulder, all the way over. Drop both shoulders down. Relax the mouth and the jaw so the teeth aren't clenched. Take an extra breath there. All the way over and release. Exhale, chin towards the chest. Take a deep inhale and release here. And then right ear over the right shoulder. See if you can get that ear all the way over. Make sure the teeth aren't clenched. Drop both shoulders down. And then chin comes towards the chest. Big inhale, exhale, drop the chin a little more. And inhale, lift the head up. All right, beautiful. So we're going to scoop the arms up. Take a breath up, reaching up. You may or may not be able to see my fingertips. That's okay. And we'll float back down. So just 3 more times. Just bring in breath with the movement. Take a breath in, full breath, maybe 3-part breath. Belly, ribs up into the chest and release. Nowhere else you need to be except right here in this moment. And just breathe in, just bring in a little movement, connecting with our body and our breath, which can only be right here and right now. So if you float off into thoughts of the future or past, just bring it back, find the body, find the breath, and we'll do that over and over and over. That is our practice. All right, so we're gonna bring a little twist. So I'm gonna look over my left shoulder. I'm gonna hold on to the chair. My hand can either come to the outside of my leg or maybe the chair, depending on what kind of chair you're in. If you're sitting on the floor and you're cross-legged, you can practice with your hand behind you, that's fine. From here, we're gonna lift up, and then we're gonna look over that left shoulder. We're gonna engage the belly just so we protect our lower back as we find this twist. And with any twist, we wanna grow as tall as we can on the inhale. So we'll take a breath in. And on the exhale, we explore the twist. And don't go all the way because you want to have room to explore. We take another breath in. And we explore the twist. And another breath. And exploring the twist. So it's as if we're gently wringing out our spine here. Find both soles of the feet firmly connected to the earth, both sit bones. And keeping the twist in the upper body. chin come out now over the right shoulder. Relax the jaw. Take a full breath here. And then return back to center. And scoop the arms up. Take a big breath up. Lift. And release. And so side two, we're going to now look up. And we're going to come over the right shoulder. So we'll take a breath up. Find lots of room in the spine. Lengthening up. We're going to look over that right shoulder. Hand can come behind us. Maybe one hand to the thigh. And notice here that we're not trying to lift up too much. We're staying grounded through both sit bones, through both soles of the feet. We're going to lift up on the inhale. And exhale, gently begin the twist. Our eyes are part of our turn. Engage the belly. So we're going to lift up again. Exhale, we explore. And again, maybe one more. So we never want to get to a place where we're straining the breath. We should still be able to breathe freely. Might not be as full of breath because we're twisted, but you should still be able to feel it flowing. And we're going to keep the twist in the upper body, looking out over the left shoulder. Coming back to center. And release, come back all the way. Find neutral. Drop the hands and we'll take a breath up. I'm hoping that you're flowing a little bit more freely here with the breath. So we're going to turn sideways. You can take this seated. You can come onto your hands and knees if you're used to. We're going to practice a cat-cow on the chair. Just to show you that there's lots of ways to do this. If you happen to still be working or the floor is not accessible, you can practice in a chair. So we're going to let our hands come towards our thighs, and with an inhale, you're going to roll into the sit bones. This is our cow posture. So we're opening up the front of the body. We're opening up, stretching the front of the body, including just a gentle stretch to the front of the throat. We're going to look up gently. And on the exhale, we're going to start from our tailbone. It's going to curve under. And then we're going to roll into the back body. And then with an inhale, we'll come forward. Hands on the thighs as you look up. And exhale, we roll into the back body. This is the cat stretch. You've all seen the cats do it. My cat did it just a few minutes ago. One more. And we'll roll back. All right, beautiful. So before we move into standing postures, just take a moment and to stretch your feet out. So I find it really useful. Some that take my class know that I really love to open the feet before we go into standing poses. It's good to do before you go to bed, nice to do before you wake up, because we have a layer of fascia all over our body. And if we can begin to open and release it, even with just rubbing the feet, it might help release some tightness all over the body. So you can take your thumbs and warm up your feet a little. You might take just your knuckles and just give a gentle release. Just try to find some way to stretch and open the feet. And we'll take the other side. And then we'll come to standing. So you can do this next posture using downward dog facing the wall. I'm going to show you on a chair so that you don't get my bum shot. So you could do it pressing into the wall. I'm going to show you sideways. You could also do it on a chair. So what it looks like is our hands are going to be either pressing onto the wall or on a chair. We're going to walk our feet back and we're trying to find a long spine. So once we get to that nice long spine, we're going to notice that we're going to pull the belly in an inch or two below your navel. We're going to pull it in and up just to protect our lower back. And then we're going to stretch long. So I'm going to really lengthen my back out. I can move my hips a little, shake my tail so that I'm finding some length on the sides of the waist. I'm rolling the upper arms out a bit so that I'm broadening between my shoulder blades and I'm not locking my knees. So a little bit of bend here. And just take a breath or two. Again, and the more we can help open up this area around the ribs, the more we'll be able to get some freer breaths. And if you're at a wall, it's totally fine to be up higher, wherever you need to be. and then we'll slowly walk back in. All right. So the next posture, if you're doing it against a wall, is we're just going to stretch one leg out at a time. So I am going to face you this way. So I'm going to stretch right foot towards the wall, and I'm going to press back through my left heel. So I'm just stretching a little bit. I'll turn sideways so you can see what I'm doing if this is a wall, or I can use my chair. I'm trying to press back through this back heel, just getting a nice stretch through the calf. Again, a lot of us are walking a lot, which is awesome to get outside with our social distancing, but that means our legs tighten. So if we don't take the time to stretch out our calves and our hamstrings, it might start pulling on our lower back. So take the other leg, step back, see if you can press into that heel. Doesn't have to go all the way down. And then come together. Awesome. So the next few poses, I'm going to use the wall. So if you have a place where you can have a decent amount of room here to be able to use the wall as a support, I invite you to do that. First pose we're going to take is triangle. So I'm going to start, I'm going to be mirroring you. So I think if I say the opposite, it should work. I'm going to take my right foot and it's going to come out, and my left foot's going to be behind me. So in this case, I feel my right bottom on the wall, but my left side of my bottom is not touching the wall, so I can slide a hand or a piece of paper back there. I'm going to extend my arms out, and this is where the wall is really helpful, because it reminds me how far my arms need to go back to be in line with my body and not to go further. So I'm going to reach forward out over this leg, and when my hamstring says I can't go any further without collapsing my waist, I will then bring my arm down to support me somewhere on my leg. It could be way up here, it could be down here, and then this arm and shoulder get to come back towards the wall behind me. We enjoy the support of that, and we're going to take several breaths here, really trying to breathe open the side of the waist, the sides of the ribs on both sides, and opening up the chest and the hamstrings. You can look up if that feels all right for the neck. You can look straight ahead. You can look down towards your leg. Make sure we're not locking the knees here. Let's take a few breaths. And then to come up, imagine you're holding on to a rope and it's pulling you up towards the ceiling. You did it. So we're just going to change sides. So we're going to turn this foot in, the other side out. So in this case, your left bottom is touching the wall, right bottom is not. This foot's turned in quite a bit. We're going to reach out now over this front leg, same thing that we just did. This hamstring might be a little different, so don't expect it to be exactly like the other side. And as we come down, try not to lock this knee, so we need to have a little bit of bend, so that means your thigh is working fully. And then we'll come down. For me, I think that's about right today. What happens is this top shoulder wants to come forward, right? That's natural. And some of our shoulders might just stay there, and that's fine. If there's an ability to open any more, we're just trying to bring that shoulder back towards the wall. It may not make it there, that's okay. If it doesn't, a tip is to reach towards me, reach all the way forward towards me, and then pull your shoulder directly back, and then pull it up towards the sky. That might give you a little bit more room in your shoulder. And we'll take several breaths. If you want to just build the muscles in your side body, you can let your hand just hover here for a few breaths, or reach it out if you're wanting more of a, you got a lot of energy that's you want to dissipate. This is one way to do it. Or you can have your hands supporting you on the wall or on your leg. Take a breath into this moment. All is well right now. We're just breathing, moving with our bodies. So to come out, again, imagine there's that rope. It's going to lift you up. From here, we're going to turn our toes in, which is called the star posture we talked about last week. Your feet are going to be turned out. You're going to be a couple inches away from the wall, maybe 2 or 3 inches. That's how big your bottom is. And then from there, you're going to take a breath out and open the whole body. You imagine that there's a little anchor on your tailbone that's helping to connect you to the earth, and those same anchors are on the soles of the feet, all 4 corners of your feet, so you feel very connected and centered with the earth. Legs are engaged. We'll take a breath open. From here, we're going to fold all the way down to the ground. Your bottom's going to stay on the wall. So this is where it's like, whoop. If you need to come out a little further, either because you're hitting the wall or your hamstrings are really tight, do whatever you need to do. It's okay if your knees don't straighten here. For me, I can straighten my legs, and I have very short legs, so I can reach the floor. If the floor is too far away, you can bring a block or you can bring a chair. So I'll show you with the chairs in case you're not sure. So we're going to come into a twist. So your hand is either going to be on the floor or it might be on a chair. We're going to twist open towards the right first. So I'm going to have my left hand on the earth or a chair. I'm going to keep my hips as level as possible, and then I'm going to open this arm up. Hand can also stay here. So we're getting a nice twist in our upper back. Again, if you don't need the chair, if you can reach the floor or you have a block or something to hold on to, that's great as well. The wall can help you see whether you are shifting from side to side. So try to stay center. I hope I'm center. It's kind of hard to tell. And then we'll lift up. And then we'll try side two. So we'll bring that hand down when you're ready. So it's going to be the right hand on the earth. This time we're opening the left shoulder towards the sky. Again, if you need to bring something underneath this hand, feel free. My hand's going to come to my lower back. I'm going to see if I'm shifting from side to side. I'm going to try to find center. My hand can help support there. And then I'm going to open up the shoulder. You can reach up the arm if your shoulder allows. Think about bringing the top of your head towards the screen so that you're lengthening out your spine. And release, come on down. If it's all right with your body, we're going to let the head come towards the earth for a breath. And just release the spine nice and long. And then to come out, hands come forward. We're going to heel toe the feet towards each other. Bend the legs and let yourself roll up. So your bottom's going to touch the wall first. Strong legs. You're going to invite each vertebrae back towards the wall. And then once the back of the head touches, you can straighten up. Take a full breath. And just enjoy the wall, right? You got something supporting you here. It's all of us. We're interconnected, right? So a couple different poses. We're going to continue standing to keep opening up the chest. So we're going to do wall clock. Those of you that have been in my class before know that I really like this one. It's a nice deep stretch for the shoulder, for the front of the chest as well. If you've had any shoulder injuries, kind of can break through some of the scar tissue, but do it very gently if you have a shoulder injury. Of course, if you feel anything sharp, that's not for you. But we're going to start about a foot from the wall. We're going to send the right hand up towards the sky, and we're going to spread those fingers. So this is, oh God, I can't do this backwards. This is 12 o'clock, right? This is always 12 o'clock on a clock. So from here, I'm just not going to talk about the hours. We're going to walk the hand back, maybe 6 inches. I'm going to drop my shoulders. And I'm taking some breaths into the front of this, the shoulder, front of the chest here. We're going to take it 6 more inches down so that it's pointing at the next part of the clock. Woo! That's a lot of opening. Oh, I haven't made it very far, have I? So I'm going to make it 6 more inches. And if you have very loose shoulders, you can turn your feet a little more towards the center of the room. This is one that I've injured before, so I'm going to be sweet. And then we're going to try to get it so that the arm is parallel to the floor. I think that's about parallel. Can't entirely tell, but we'll take a few breaths there. And then to come out, we'll gently step away from the wall, let the arm come down. And the arm that was just up is going to cross over. I'm just going to hold it, give it a little hug as it crosses the other direction. And release. And you just kind of notice the difference in the one arm that's been opened. Next, we'll try the other side. So again, a couple inches from the wall. The hand's gonna go up, fingers are gonna be spread wide. Oh, I noticed you can see I've been working out in the dirt. So from here, take a breath. Whew. And then we're gonna walk back about 6 inches as if you're going towards one of the numbers on a clock. And so see if you can stay with your breath. If your mind wanders here, maybe you can just stay with the sensation wherever you're feeling it. Take a breath into it. Just think about all the opening here across the chest. That's going to enable us hopefully to continue taking deep breaths and keeping our body open. Here we go, another 6 inches. I think I'm doing way more numbers than are on a clock, but that's okay. This is the Amy clock. I'm doing half hours. Okay, and then we're gonna come to its parallel to the floor, or close to it. And when you're ready to release out, you just step away from the wall slowly, let that hand come down. Maybe it'll cross over, you can hold it. All right, great, and release. So for the next posture, we're gonna add on what we were doing with triangle, and then also what we were doing with our upper body twist, and we're gonna take a revolve triangle using the wall. So we're gonna come back to the first side when we were doing, I notice I'm touching my face, but I am at home and my hands are washed. So I'm very aware and mindful. I'm like, I've touched my face. So from here, I'm gonna turn again, my right foot out, right bottom's gonna be on the wall. This time we're gonna turn both hips so that we are fully facing this direction. So as much as we can, we're trying to get the hips level so that this hip isn't back or forward. It's trying to be right in line. And the same thing with our hips in terms of as level as it can be. First version we're gonna do is we're gonna come down maybe towards 90. Our hamstrings might not allow that. We might just come down a little bit. Taking a breath. Again, if this is too much for you, this is where it's a great place to have a chair. And you can bring your arms onto a chair and stretch out. Stay as high as you need. If you can come down and just come towards 90, let your hands support you on your leg, and we'll take a few breaths there. Nice long spine. Or you can be on a chair, and we'll rise up. So strong belly, press into the earth as you rise up. So for the next version, we're going to turn and hug the wall. This is why we did our wall clock, to open up our chest. So as much as we can, we're going to lift up. We're going to turn towards the wall. And we're going to have our hands come towards the wall. If this doesn't work for the back shoulder, you can have your hand on your waist or the lower hand, back of the lower hand onto the lower back. I'm going to show you full version first. So we're going to come down. Hand's going to be coming towards this front leg, and the other hand's going to be coming up the wall. So we're hugging that direction. Again, if this is too much for this back arm, you can take it down here. If you want to be on a chair, you can be up higher and just twist. So pick your version and take a few breaths. You want to think about the inner legs coming together as if you're on a balance beam here. Your legs are pulling towards each other, towards the midline. One more breath, you got it. And then we'll press, lift on up. Woo! That's a little hiney workout. We're going to turn towards the front. Just take a breath. And then just soften for a minute. Take a breath up. And release. And we'll try side two. So we're going to turn towards this direction. If you're using a chair, go ahead and move it if you need that. We want both hips facing the same direction. Now my other shoulder is towards the wall. We're going to come down as long as we can, stretching out the front of that hamstring. It might be that we stay up a bit. Hands can be on the leg. Or it might be that we come towards 90 so that our body's parallel to the floor. And we keep pulling this hip back away from the front leg. Yeah? Engage the belly gently to protect our lower back here as it lengthens out. And then we're gonna rise up. We're gonna turn towards our wall, give it a little hug. Hello, wall. So if your shoulder here does not like this much opening, again, hand can be on your lower back. Any variation. So we're gonna come down. I'm giving it a kiss. You can let your hip come towards the wall if that helps provide some stability for you. Taking a couple breaths. And then to come out, you can press through both legs as you lift back up. We're going to let the feet turn towards the front. Take a breath, let your feet come back underneath you. And just take a nice calm breath up. And let's pull our hands down the center. Awesome. So we're going to come into tree pose, which is a balance posture. The wall is here if you feel like I need as much centering and support as I can get today. That's totally cool. Come against the wall, enjoy it. You can be open. If you feel like you want to balance away from the wall, that's fine. So any tree starts with the first version of just the heel lifted and the toes on the floor. And we'll stay here. This is a great place. Maybe that you move to the inside of the inner shin or the inner upper thigh. We just don't want it right over the knee itself. So wherever you are, we're going to let the two parts press towards each other. The foot and the leg are pressing. The foot that you're standing on is pressing into the earth as much as you're lifting up. So you need both of those actions, balancing out. And then you just take your arms wherever you want to go. Maybe we can come back to that 3-part breath. And remember that this is a great place to wobble. It's fine. If your tree falls here, we're going to practice. We are going to get blown over a lot in life, remember, so we can practice breathing here. If you fall, it's not a big deal. You just come and you start again. Over and over. That's our practice, right? Coming back to this moment. If you're against the wall or if you're in the center and you're feeling stable, take whatever version you like. And then to come out, we'll bring the hands together. Knee's going to come forward, and we're just going to release it down this time. And we'll try side 2. Move right into it. You don't need to get away from that sensation in the standing leg. It'll pass. Yep. So we have the sensation of the leg pressing in, and then the standing leg, and then we're pressing down into the earth. Think of those roots interconnected, and we're lifting up. So we have those two. Whatever arms you want, spine, branches. There's a breeze blowing outside, so maybe your tree's moving a little. Three-part breath. Nice deep. Knee comes forward and release coming down. So take a breath for just a minute. Awesome. So we're going to take another standing posture, which is going to be triangle moving into half moon pose. If you're not sure that you might want some support, you can turn your chair so that you can reach the seat of the chair. We're going to come back to our triangle, which is the posture we took first. Right bottom's against the wall, left bottom's off some. We're going to come down. We're going to keep this length at the sides of the waist. I'm going to look where I'm going, bend my standing leg, and as I shift off, this is where you can use a chair if it's helpful, or your hand can be on the floor if you're used to practicing like that. From here, I'm used to practicing on the floor, so I'm going to bring my hand to the floor. We're going to think about opening up this right hip. So engage the belly, lift this right hip up, all the way, so that my leg is going to be now touching the wall. My lifted foot is flexed. I'm going to lift up, and the wall is here. So bring my head back. I'm going to fully see what it's like to get my body in one line, one plane. And again, if you're using a chair, totally fine. That's a great place. And let's take a couple breaths, opening. Make sure your leg is not locked to the standing leg. A little bit of bend to come out. You're going to want to bend it a lot. Reach this leg back, and then it'll touch the earth. And we'll take the other side. So again, left bottom touching. We're going to come. If you need the chair, go ahead and move the chair to the other side. And as we come down from triangle, we're going to bend the standing leg. Hand can come either towards a chair. I can have it on my little, what's this called? Molding, floor molding. From here, we're going to lift the left hip. So it's trying to stack the top hip, we'll just call it top hip, is trying to stack over the bottom hip. I'm flexing that back foot. I'm going to lift my top arm all the way towards the back of the wall so that I feel the support across my shoulders. I can't overarch because I have the wall there. I'm going to bring a little bit of bend to my standing leg, engage my belly. I might look up towards the sky. Or I might not. I might look down. To come out, bend, bend, bend the standing leg, and we'll stretch back. Awesome. So we're going to take a breath. So let's stretch out our back before we go down to the floor. So similar to what we did earlier, you can either press your hands into the wall and take a downward dog. You can take downward dog on the floor if you're used to that. You can take it in a standing posture, holding onto a chair. I'm interested in just finding lots of length here again in our spine. Lengthen it out. And then we're going to bend the knees. Hands are going to come to our waist as we rise up. So I'm going to stay turning sideways so you can see. I'm going to take a little bit of a back bend here. We're going to re-engage the soles of the feet, finding our roots going down. Imagine that my roots are intermingling with your roots and we feel that strong foundation underneath us so that we're all connected. Hands are either going to come to the lower back, and you can turn so that your fingers are pointing down, and you're going to bring your hands down till you hit that ridge. You're just going to hang on there. If that's too much, you can bring your fingers pointing to the sides of your body. If you have a lot of opening, let's just do that. So elbows coming towards each other. We want to zip up our belly, so we're just engaging the lower abdominal muscles. And instead of thinking about a back bend, all we're going to do is just offer our heart up towards the sky. So I'm just going to lift my heart up. Elbows are coming towards each other. Heart's lifting. And then on the exhale, I'll find myself coming back up. And then hopefully that opening will also facilitate a little bit of a deeper breath. Awesome. We're going to come down to the floor. So however you can come down to the floor. A couple postures here. We're going to start on our backs, and our legs are going to be coming towards the wall. So depending how, we're going to have to adjust a little bit how close you are to the wall. Some depends on your hamstring, but the first version we're going to take is a figure 4. So you're going to bend one leg, we're going to take the other ankle, cross over that knee, and then press that knee away from your body. Yeah? So we're just taking a few breaths here. You can keep the foot on the wall, or you can bring the knee towards your body if you want a little bit more stretch. So either of those are great. And then let both legs just come up the wall. Let your arms open up to the side. Take 2 nice, deep, full breaths. Maybe let it come out through the mouth. One more. And we'll try side 2. So other ankle crosses over the knee. We're going to bend that leg. Foot can stay on the wall. If that's a good place, if you want to bring the knee towards you, that's a little deeper stretch. Just pick one and we'll breathe into it. both legs come up the wall. Now you don't need to be looking at me now if you're facing away from the screen. Both legs are going to be up the wall. So you can scoot your bottom towards the wall as much as your hamstrings allow. If your hamstrings are fairly tight, you may need to have your bottom a few inches from the wall. If your hamstrings are fairly loose and you can sit normally on the ground with your legs extended out without sitting on something, you can be closer to the wall. So legs are straight up the wall. The legs are not tense, they're just resting, heels resting on the wall, just letting some of that energy, some of the circulation that's been going into the legs flow back down. You can invite your arms to open out to the side in a T position, coming out from the body, allowing the shoulders to gently drop towards the earth. Take a nice deep breath in and see if you can exhale a sigh a little bit longer than the inhale. And then from here, no need to look at the screen. All we're going to do is let gravity be our friend. We're going to let both legs drop open to either side. So the right leg is going to be opening to the right, the left leg is going to be opening to the left, as if we're sitting in a straddle posture. And then gravity will tell you when that's as far as your legs will go. And if you can, we're going to take several breaths here. And then gravity might surprise you, and you might feel a little drop in one leg and then maybe the other. If this is too much, don't practice it, but if you're interested in exploring safely, feel free. Whoop. Mine just dropped a lot there on one side. So if the mind has wandered off, let's bring it back. Not only to the sensation here in our legs, maybe our inner thighs, but also that sensation of what it's like to take a full breath in and releasing fully. One more. And when you're ready to bring the legs back up the wall, if you need support, you can bring your hands to your thighs and kind of climb one leg at a time and help lift the leg back up with your hand on your thigh. So you're kind of walking the feet back up to where they're facing straight up towards the sky again. And we're just laying on our back still, legs up the wall. And you can stay here. I'm going to talk you for a few moments through a bit more relaxation. So allowing your arms to drop out to the side again in a T posture. Shoulders are releasing away from your shoulders. Shoulders are releasing away from your ears. As you take the next few breaths, bring a softening to behind the head. Notice that the back of the neck is softening, the sides of the neck, the front of the throat. You can feel the back of the body resting here on the ground so that the front of the body can soften. Maybe you can feel the belly fully releasing here. We're going to practice some gratitude for our strong, lovely legs that have supported us through those standing postures that are now getting a bit of release and relief through being lifted up towards the wall. Anytime we're in a posture like this, it is a calming posture. So allowing ourselves to receive the calming nature of this. It also lowers blood pressure a bit. So if you don't need to lower your blood pressure, come on up. breaths, just fully coming back to that sensation of the breath flowing in. And on the exhale, releasing. Letting our hearts and our minds fill with gratitude for things that we're grateful for. Again, as an antidote to any extra energy or anxiety or stress we may be feeling. Gratitude for those around us, and then taking a breath in again, and feeling that interconnectedness between each other, whether we are near each other or we may not be as near as we're used to with each other, but still know that we are interconnected, supporting each other. Let's take a breath in together, just into our heart center. We can share that intention with each other, that we breathe in with the hope that all beings may be at peace, may all beings be well, may all beings be safe. That includes each of you, that includes me, that includes all beings, and we'll just take a breath and send that wish out to all. Just remember, as you continue your practice, with the video not going, to just be sweet to yourself, to practice taking time away from the news, to practice being in nature, to practice remembering that we're interconnected, even if we're not seeing each other, to stay connected with calls and with FaceTime and Skype and other ways that we can connect with people. Maybe we can be more connected than we were before, just because we may have the time to reach out more. So just considering those, and to be very compassionate with ourselves, so that when we feel our breathing constricted, to try to relax, to think about maybe that 3-part breath, or maybe even just extending the exhale a little bit longer, just to remind ourselves to calm down.